Hello, welcome.
Hey, Lenny.
Hey,
Hey,
so yeah,
guys.
we are streaming live,
Andrew,
and welcome to Toronto Electronic Music Producers, April 2025. Had to stop and think about that for a second, and yeah, I'm gonna just throw the YouTube link in the chat here. If anyone wants to give the Twitch channel a shot, you never know. We are supposedly streaming on Twitch as well, but yes, we do this every month. And I think I see one new face here, so welcome, Chris. And we, as mentioned, stream live to YouTube. So that's where we'll be playing back everyone's music that has been submitted. So everyone who has submitted music will put your name in a random name picker, and we'll spin the wheel. Hey, Chris, just saying hi to you there. I don't know if you can hear us. Okay, that's good. Cool. So yeah, that's basically how the format works. Some of our members send in video. So basically, in that case, obviously we'll play the video. But after we play everyone's content, we'll come back into the Zoom discussion and give feedback. So that's basically how the format works. Um, and in the past, we used to meet in person prior to COVID, just as kind of an FYI. Sometimes we forget almost because we've been doing both online and in person for about an equal amount of time. I would say 5 years each, something like that. Time flies. Got a couple of announcements actually as well. I wanted to mention that tomorrow night, by the way, in the Barrie area, we're gonna have a 21 sets at a location here. I actually have a promo. I'm just gonna throw it on here, remind myself. At the Ascent Lounge. So I actually will be there. It's 21 DJs, believe it or not, and we're gonna have 20-minute sets, so it's gonna be pretty quick, but should be a lot of fun. I'm also gonna try to stream it. It will be streamed one way or another. Other people may stream it, but I'm bringing my gear there. And if I do, I'll probably stream it through my YouTube as well, same as this particular stream, so the same channel. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention is that yeah, so that will be jungle and drum and bass, 21 DJs in honor of fallen artists, and there's going to be MCs as well. So the event link I can put in the chat here. Actually, there's a Facebook event link, and I also want to mention. Well, let me just do one thing at a time here, guys. Sort of all over the map. But yes, sorry, June 14th, we're gonna have a temper event as well, by the way. So this is gonna be at the Smith House. We had a live event in November 30th of last year, and it was very, very good. I think Andrew, you were there out of the people that are on this call. So we're trying to improve in the marketing, mind you. That's the one improvement. But I have Juan, aka DJ Dextra, who he's very, very good. To have him on board, we want to have these as regular events, and he has quite a lot of experience going way back, even working at Trax Record back in the day. So the old um, glory days of the rave scene in Toronto in the 90s, where there was multiple parties even during the week. You would go to like Trax or play the record, and there'd be stacks of flyers and multi-room events, literally. I mean, you could pick and choose. You could probably go to an event, 3, 4, 5 times a week, and there would still be tons of people there. You know what I mean? So that was kind of the world that. And he's also a vinyl turntablist. So the event in June 14th, we're gonna have, if not all vinyl, majority vinyl. So most of the DJs that play will be bringing out their old dub plate collections, and uh, record collections that span, like 30 plus years. So a lot of stuff that doesn't even exist on digital, frankly. Yeah, and our resident MC, Bandit MC. So he's agreed to be our host. So I mean that, and we'll have other MCs as well because we don't want to, you know what I mean, have it all on one person. That's a lot of vocal cords to go for a night, to be honest with you. Like so. But anyways, yeah, thanks for joining us tonight, though, and it's good to see you all. And any other? Oh, I see Jeff is waiting here. Let him in.
Is the Twitch live right now? Because all I'm seeing is the temp logo. Am I supposed to be seeing something else there?
Yeah, it sounds like it's not working then,
Okay.
frankly.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. You
No
could
worries.
try, I don't know why, but the latency might be less. My personal Twitch, which is twitch.tv/spy audio,
Okay, let's try that.
because that actually does work for my reckoning ones, frankly.
Okay.
So I don't know why it wouldn't work for this, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. It's very, but
Because I do prefer Twitch to
there's less latency yeah, Twitch has
yeah,
less latency, and I honestly was hoping, like I've been saying this all along, like we have multiple channels for redundancy purposes, right? For exactly this purpose.
yeah.
But also just to offer options, if some people may prefer the sound quality, the less latency, you know what I mean? I totally agree. We tried Kick. I don't know, that was really a disappointment, but
It's weird
Yeah, it
because it
didn't
used to
work.
be working. It used to work perfectly. Don't know what happened.
yeah, no, I think what happened is the terms of service changed and you have to re-acknowledge it. And every
Oh,
time
okay.
I add and re-add the channel, it worked
No,
for my other channel, the one that I just put the link in there for. I used to have the same issue, and then it started to work after I deleted the channel and then re-added it.
okay.
But you know what? I don't want to dwell too much on it, but it is something that honestly should be resolvable. Should.
Okay.
But luckily, the YouTube seems to be working, right? So let me know,
Yeah.
by the way, if there's any glitches or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've got music from, oh, and thank you to Vostel once again for joining us from, other time zone out there in, you call it Central Europe, but some people call it Eastern Europe. I don't know. Is Romania Central
It's
Europe?
Central Eastern, I guess. We can compromise with that.
Yeah, okay. Because I always thought Germany was Central Europe. You know what I mean? That was my idea, but
Yeah,
maybe I'm in the past, man. I don't know.
but you have to remember that Europe goes to the Ural Mountains, and that's way in the east. And Turkey is also part of. So
All right. Hey, listen, I'm
that's
not
why
arguing with
Romania.
you. It's your
That's why
territory.
Romania is considered central because there's also that stuff
On the
over
other
the
side of the
Black
mountain.
Sea. You know,
Ah, okay, okay. See?
like north and south of the Black Sea. But
So this is not just electronic music, it's also geography, folks. This is how far we go globally. So, but yeah, that's the great thing about being virtual and being online is that we have so many people from all over the world at this point. So, that's why we stick with this format. And yeah, so without any further ado, I will
Oh, Lenny, could you put the YouTube channel in there too, or the link for YouTube?
yeah, maybe it's not persistent, right?
Thank you.
Oops, sorry. That's the Facebook. That's the Facebook event for tomorrow. Let me get you the YouTube one right here. Sorry about that. Yeah, I got all kinds of windows going on here. There you go. So there's the YouTube link there.
Good,
Share.
thank you.
I was gonna put it somewhere else. Where the hell was I gonna put it? Ah, whatever. But anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and share.
You sent? Did you get my link you sent out and said send it again?
Oh,
So
right. Yeah, I've been having trouble with the Odyssey links there, Jeff. So I don't know what to tell you, man. If you could share it some other way as a
oh,
backup.
I did send it to you
Yeah,
again.
no, Gilles sent me a link too from Audacity? No, not
Yeah.
Audacity. Audius.
Audience, yeah.
And yeah, no, in the past it was working. I'm serious. I just the link doesn't. It opens partially,
Well,
but it
I
doesn't.
sent it
actually,
to you. Maybe it just is taking a while to open up.
You sent
Yeah,
him
well,
the MP3?
I can give it a shot again right now in a few
Yeah.
seconds.
I just
here.
sent you a new link. So
Yeah. Okay. All right.
thank you.
It's but I'm just saying, just in case the new link doesn't work as well, just think about a backup plan there, Jeff.
Oh,
Yeah. So okay, we got Brian, Joe, Jeff, Fausto, Claude, myself, and Andrew. So I think did I see Richard sneak in here?
Richard's here, but I didn't send anything in, Len. If you
Okay.
want me, if you want me to, I will, but I haven't sent anything yet.
Well, I always want you to, Richard. I'm always interested, and I'm hoping your project is going well. I remember last time we were all very impressed with the presentation. You know, you had a real nice little intro there. So, yeah, you're on mute though, Richard, in case you're talking.
No, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and so yeah, well, I'll add you anyways, and you know, if
Okay.
you know, if your name comes up and you don't have anything, you know, it's okay as well. But so yeah, I'll go ahead and spin the wheel, and we'll see. Right, Brian. How are you today, Brian?
Hey everybody, how you doing?
hey.
So tonight's entree is a track from some recordings I did in my band last summer that I'm finally getting around to mixing, and I'm looking for feedback mostly on the mix. There's not a lot I can do about the performance anymore or the composition, but I'm looking for any input on bass problems, high end, you name it. You guys know the drill. So let her rip, man.
Alrighty, let's go to listen.
Hear my mama knocking down your
Are those your vocals, Brian?
Yeah.
Very good. Excellent. Yeah, those are great.
Thanks. How did it sound on your system?
The vocals were fantastic. The mix itself, the rhythm guitar seemed a little quieter and a little flatter than the rest. I don't know if it was intentional. If it was intentional, then maybe at the very beginning, when the rhythm guitar is on its own with the drums, maybe make it a bit more prominent, raise the volume. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It depends what you're after. I checked both with my HS5s here and my headphones, and I was getting similar sound. The kick, I think the kick could have a bit more low end.
Cool. Okay.
That's what I found, but it'll be interesting to see what other guys think. It could be my system, but other than that, everything was clear, like very crisp. Everything has its frequency. I thought, aside from those bits, I thought it was fantastic, and you did a very good job in making the vocals be prominent.
Thanks. I'll take those notes.
Yeah, I thought it sounded really good in terms of composition. That's for sure. Did you guys do it all live in the same room kind of deal, or?
So what we did is I recorded the drums and bass direct with everybody had headphones on, and I played the like a scratch guitar part and sang a scratch vocal so that they could, retain the form of the song. And then
Right.
everything did is overdubs.
Nice.
Which isn't ideal. I mean, I would like to really catch live energy, but it's hard to really record that because the bass gets into everything.
Hmm.
That was great, man. I felt like I was in a 70s rock party with Led Zeppelin and stuff.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to admit there's some Zeppelin influence on that one. But we're gonna put the so we got about maybe 10 or 12 songs. We're gonna put them all in an album and put that on Bandcamp, and then I'm gonna release one after the other on Spotify and all the others. And then we'll start them, just like that.
Yeah, man. You'll
Yeah.
be doing your Robert Plant.
This is sort
Jimmy
of our
Page
swan
at the same time.
sort of a swan song for this band because we're actually defunct, and it was the culmination of a few years of work, and I figured it might as well get it out there, if nothing else.
Oh, really? So the band is sort of like past tense, you're saying, but you got all the recordings.
Yeah, two of the guys were mega, so I shot them, and that band is defunct.
All right. Well, hey, man, you made good music, so I'm sorry to hear that. Who knows? Maybe it'll come back. But yeah, man.
Well, I've got a few other things in the back burner right now, so we'll see what happens with that.
Brian, I appreciate the fact that you're seeing it through, even though the band's not there, that you're taking the project all the way through. I mean, it's good, with your energy and your hours went into it. You get to have a finished product at the end and have something to show for it. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I figure, what the hell, it's when we're all gone, it might still be here on whatever these streaming platforms are.
Right.
Probably YouTube at least. Thanks for your feedback, guys.
No, thank you for sharing, Brian.
And Lenny, since you put my name on the list, I felt compelled to send you a file, so I just did that.
Alrighty. And yeah, by the way, Jeff, I just tried the Audius again. Could be my browser, but dude, it's not cooperating.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because I know I sent it to Gilles and it was working for Gilles, and I tested it out, so it was working.
Yeah. No, I believe.
But Jeff, try it in an incognito window, because when I tried even my own in an incognito window, it wasn't working. So maybe try that right now. Try your link in an incognito window.
Yeah,
I think it's problem with Audius.
And I'm not trying it. I'm not using
So-
incognito either, by the way. But
I don't know what you mean by that, so sorry.
Oh, a private window? You know, when you go into a browser, you open a private window?
are you guys logged into Audius too? That maybe that's
Yes.
another
So
angle.
logged in, it works.
Maybe I have to log in. I don't even. I should have an account.
You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to because
Yeah, it should just open.
I think there's a problem with Audius because it's you and me, but it'll play if you're logged in. But if you're not logged in, or you open an incognito window or a private window.
Let me try logging in. It's possible that I have an
Okay,
account.
I'm having all sorts of technical difficulties tonight, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's like the
And your video is
the
frozen.
gremlins are out there tonight. You know, working overtime, messing up the.
Hey, Jeff, your video is frozen too, by the way.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's the thing. It's really bizarre. Right? Everything's
Okay,
like
I'm making progress here. I got a two-factor authentication going here. Beautiful. 957-160. Bear with me a second here. I just want to see if it works if I'm logged into Audius. Then we'll be okay.
Thank you.
All right. Don't miss a thing. Maybe later.
Okay, thanks, Jill.
Yep.
And Brian, I'm really, really disappointed because I didn't get to hear your song because everything's frozen up here. So I don't know if you can put it in the link so I could listen to it another time.
There we go. It worked. Wow. Amazing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, there's an issue with Audius, obviously.
All right. Sorry about that. But yeah, thank you once again, Brian. That was actually a pleasure to listen to, frankly. So great stuff.
Here you go, Jeff.
Okay. Well, Gilles, you did send me 3 different methods. I do have the MP3 queued up, but
Okay, perfect.
I got
Whichever
the
way.
YouTube as the backup. Anything you want to say before we play? I
Excellent.
think it's a similar song or the same song you sent last month.
Yeah, same
Redone
song.
or
It's called Tyrant, and it's a poem basically read by and we went to a recording room and I recorded this poet, and she recited her poem called Tyrant. And at first I was hoping to maybe put some beats to it, but that wasn't working. I think for those who were here last month, that's what you have heard. So from the feedback I got from the group, I went back to the drawing board from scratch, and instead I made more of a sound experience or an environmental piece around it. Soundscape, let's call it, yeah, a soundscape around her poem, because really it's the words that matter here. It's first type of project like this I've ever done. Usually it's more arranged with structures of songs, whether it's pop or whatnot. But this is very different. So different approach, much learning.
right on. Okay, well let's give it a listen.
Dear tyrant, you insist that life is black and white. You spit in spite and insist you're right. Your citadel of certainty gives an illusion of security, barricading your beliefs behind narrow-minded bars. To protect from the threat of complexity, you draw rigid lines to divide and malign. Dear tyrant, you pray and preach that God is great, yet in his name hurl arrows of hate. You howl against heretics and burn them in flames as you revel in your religion of rage. Fundamentalism's your false foundation, and righteousness your rigid religion. Dear tyrant, you cling to your political throne by crushing all voices that dare to differ. You shake your fists in a tantrum of fury at those who shake your faith's foundations. But your harsh demeanor is just a brittle shell hiding your fragile interior. Dear tyrant, the truth is clear. Fear's the force behind your facade, playing big to avoid seeming small. But you're just a tiny tin pot tyrant, trembling inside your temple of terror. Dear tyrant, can you feel what's stirring? Can you see what's swirling? All around, life pulses in passion. Wild nymphs sing with sacred abandon, and the dissidents dance in daring delight. Dear tyrant, can you hear what's thundering? Can you feel what's rumbling? Your kingdom is now crumbling. Your castle walls are tumbling. Your flags and banners lie ripped and scattered as the winds of change tear them to tatters. Dear tyrant, can you feel what's coming? You will topple from your tower as we rise up and reclaim our power. Tyrant, your time is done.
So were those the same vocals, Jill? Exactly the same? Or you guys recorded?
Yeah, I removed some of the processing. Before it was I think too much processed. We wanted her real voice to come out a little bit more. So I had some vocal doublers. I still have some, but it's very, very slight. And I still did another track of hers, which I pitched down 12 semitones or an octave. So there's but again, it's slight. Everything is more slight, so that we can hear her better, and also it's more true to her real voice.
Yeah, I agree. I think this time the vocals were not, it wasn't distracting. With like some of the processing before, I felt was a little bit distracting. Even though it was clear, you could still hear everything. But this version would say the vocals come through better. You know, like it's well done propaganda. You know, it's the tyrant for the against tyranny. You know, it's kind of like reminds me of our election coming up on Monday. We're gonna have or actually, speaking of elections, we have Vosto here from Romania. You know, since we're on the topic, here's a situation where I only know the bare minimum, but basically, the person who was democratically elected was declared, you know, like
yeah, man. I mean, I can talk about that. I think the whole message in what we've heard is completely wrong, because in my case, in Romania, for example, so we have a traditionalist guy who was voted by the people, you know, like who believes in God and stuff like that. And, you know, the atheist liberal people don't like that. So they banned him. They just literally banned him, and he's not allowed to run again. And they're remaking the election so that the people who they want will win, you know? So it's in many cases, it's the atheists who are the ones who are the tyrants and making a lot of dictatorial moves. Well, for example, me, like I'm a guy who believes in God, you know? I run a community. I run multiple communities. Am I ever a tyrant, or like do treat people different? No. I allow everyone to do whatever they want in those communities, you know? And when you give the chance for someone like we've heard in the track to be the leader of something, well, you can't say this, you can't say that, you're banned for this, you hate speech this, hate speech that. I mean, you gotta think a little bit. Sorry if I offend someone.
Yeah, no. I just want to say that, a perfect example of this is the tyranny of the Bolsheviks in, a similar fervor, right? The Tsar is evil, he's mistreating the poor, you guys are just cannon fodder for wars that, and then all these idealists take over and literally murder them, by the way, I should add, along with millions of other people.
I
And
mean, it's a risk,
they become more tyrannical than the
If
monarchy.
you come with
actually.
a political track, you're gonna get some feedback like this,
Yeah.
I like to stay non-political in my track.
But it's a well done track. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you can't deny it. Like, it's compelling, right? And even her poetry, it's very subversive. It's very alluring. Like, wow, here's like this, it actually, I can see people, reacting
I like
by
rebellion. I like the
next thing you
rebellion,
know,
but it has to be.
they're gonna be cutting off the heads of the monarch. They're gonna go to King Charles, man. King Charles.
I like rebellion, but it has to be representing everyone. Like, if you're gonna, push a certain type of people in the revolution to the side and say like those people don't think correctly, then it's not worth being a part of the revolution. We all have to be included,
Yeah, and similarly, I would say that we operate on a similar philosophy here with our meetup group. Is that we've had people, for example, talk about different situations, and I just have to we try not to alienate people. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to pick a side, for example, with Ukraine or Russia, or, as an example, and say, TEMP officially endorses Putin. You know what I mean? Or Zelensky's are, God help us all. So, we try to just be like basically civilized and, encourage, but yeah. Anyway, just get back to your song there, Jill, or your composition. I think what you were trying to achieve, you achieved it though, like personally, like in my opinion. I don't know what you guys feel.
Yeah,
But,
I think it's really intense. It hits you right in the gut, and both the voice and the effects that are surrounding it complement each other in that way.
Gilles,
Hey,
was that?
You on the backing tracks?
Pardon me?
Did you play all the backing stuff?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Nicely done, man.
Was that built on the exact same vocal that we heard last time?
Exact same vocals.
Interesting. She sounded more angry, and that may be, I mean, maybe it reached me this time in a way that it hadn't the first time I listened, since I've heard it twice. And so maybe it's due to what Lenny pointed out, that the voice is clear, that it was more, you could focus on the message more. But insofar as political stuff, all I wanted to say is we're living in certain heightened political times, and so discourse is good. I'm glad, it's part of everyday life.
We seem to have a rise of tyrants right now.
As long as we try to understand each other.
Yep, that's
what we are supposed to do, and that's why we should use freedom of speech,
That's where I take exception, is when people say suddenly now we have tyrants. I'm like, people, have you been paying attention? Like, this has been going on for millennia, okay? Like, no offense, you know what I mean? We just lived under 10 years of tyranny.
And we have people like Stalin and like my dictator in Romania.
Literally, I just want to remind you, a state of emergency was declared for a protest.
They were torturing priests in Romania in the 70s.
A protester was kicked in the head by a war horse.
Sorry, I'm just eating nuts all the time. I should stop. They're addictive. My bad.
And so I guess it brings out a lot of feelings. Like, I was on a walk yesterday in an arboretum. I think I'm pronouncing that properly. A place where there's like trees and shrubs. And there was like someone just out of the blue, really passionately, like this Irish lady, old woman, and she's just talking about Ireland. The Irish aren't going to take it. And I was just like, wow, and to be honest with you, it was something I don't think would have happened maybe 10 years ago. I feel like there's a new kind of thing in the air where people are like seriously pissed, for different reasons even. Like I'm like literally just, looking at, like, I'm trying to see the turtles actually within a few days. Probably today they started. There's like an area where they go to breed basically. It's like this wildlife area, you know what I mean? And so like there's these nature photographers, and I take bike rides over there usually. But yeah, it's not like a political place. And all of a sudden, this woman starts telling me about, Ireland and all these things that are going on there. And, so anyways, it's good discussion. Look, see, we've even discussed a lot now. So this piece of that Jill did, we got a lot of us talking about things. I think it's, that's the beauty of freedom. But
First we did geography, and now we're doing politics. So there's
yeah,
room for other there's room for other subjects. We can talk about math later and economics.
we're
And
gonna
things
get
like
into religion, math,
that. Sure.
economics.
Woodworking.
It's all related one way or another, and it's all connected one way or another.
I have a question for Jill. Hello? You can hear me?
I think you're on mute, Jill.
Go ahead.
Oops.
Yeah, we can hear you, Claude. What's up?
Okay, here we are.
Yeah, I was just wondering, it's a beginner question. I don't know much about instruments other than like software plugins, synthesizers. And I was wondering because it's a type of music I like very much. So what have you used to make your music? Have you used a synthesizer at all or just regular instruments?
It was all soft instruments, so
Okay.
no hardware synths. And
Okay.
it was a combination. I used a lot of instruments from Contact.
Okay.
Okay, and
Okay.
I also used some samples, like for instance, some of those swooshes. There are some swooshes. It's a lot of tracks. It's like between 20 and 30 tracks of different sounds.
Okay. Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah, so I use some. I use Ableton Live. So some of the drum kits, I went for industrial drum kits because I wanted that
Okay.
cold metallic feel.
Yeah.
And a bit chaos. So I used 2 or 3 drum kits that were of that genre.
Okay. And have you paid for Contact or are you using the free version, the free kit?
I paid because
Okay.
it's you get it on sale. It's really worth it.
Okay, because I've tried to install it on my computer, the free version, and I've never been able to install it, so I just forgot about it. But I think it's a great tool, right?
It is.
So I should probably look into it. Okay, thanks.
So what are some of those
Great.
percussion VSTs you used?
I don't even remember. A lot of them they're all free. Most of them. One of them was from ADO, I think. ADO. I can't remember the name.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it was a lot of search. It was a lot of searching. So I grab instrument, play some sounds, try different patches until I find something I like. If I didn't, I throw it away. So that's why I can't even remember what I use. There are so many tracks on there, but I remember a lot of Contact instruments.
Yeah. Have you heard of Heaviosity?
Yes, but I didn't use it.
I'm just if you get a chance, check out Damage. There's some cool stuff in there.
I may have used that one. Damage.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I did because it has those sort of sounds. So it's on 1 or 2 tracks. I use that one.
Yeah, Damage can be pretty industrial.
Yeah.
Nice work, man.
Thanks for all your feedback, guys. The track wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for you, because I really reworked it from the first time.
And so are you releasing it then now,
Yeah.
Jill, basically? Okay, good stuff, good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds production ready, so good stuff.
Thanks to everyone.
Ready? So yes, thank you again for sharing, Jill. We will spin the wheel. Okay. Well, okay. I have been ultra busy. I think I was saying this the last meetup. So I was going through my back catalog, and last month I found an old track. But this track is even older. But I played it, I don't know when, a few weeks ago in a set, and it just fit into the set. So sort of like rediscovered a lost track, if you will, like an unreleased track that. So I'll just play it. Actually, I could talk about it later, I guess. So let me know what you think.
Ominous and menacing. I like it, man.
Yeah.
What did you call it?
The working title was Arc of Titus, something like that, but it's not really. I don't know. I didn't. It's just
Great
like I say, a
name.
working title. Yeah. I really it really, Jill, you hit the nail on the head. It really was an exercise in polyrhythm, and it's a kind of style. that has like an organic feel just because of the timing. And anyway, and I think Vossa, you heard this in a mix before, and you know, like
Yes, I did.
It has a mood. It has like a kind of feel.
It fitted pretty well in the mix. You're making stuff that's undistinguishable from the professional drum and bass artists now.
Well, this particular track is pretty straightforward, believe it or not. It's a style.
Yeah, keep it simple but nice, man. Like that's the secret.
Yeah, and the engineering was what caught my ear too, because I hadn't heard this track for like maybe half a year. And when I heard it, I was like, wow, it actually sounded pretty good, like the mastering, I have to admit, which helps when you have good what's that old saying? You have some good input and you have good output. Like if your input is garbage, then your output is garbage. So
Garbage
it's
in,
nice to have
garbage out.
garbage in, garbage out. Exactly. It's nice to have like clean MIDI going, because a lot of times I'm working with samples that are like nasty,
Those polyrhythms are very cool, man. How did you set that up? Is that all software, or how did you do that?
Yeah, all MIDI. So I had some MIDI files that I just basically was manipulating, and the timing was the key.
But the drum, the percussions and stuff, is that all different loops, or is it one loop, or did you make it individually from like individual sounds?
Those are all. It's been a while, so I could even be wrong.
Yeah,
but I want to say, I want to say they're MIDI files with like a lot of like tracks. So I think there was like maybe 2 or 3 perhaps on the percussion. You know what I mean? But I would have to reopen the project if I could even find it. But there was basically no samples though. That's the one thing I do recall with this particular track. You know what I mean? Which and I'm not against samples, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying it just happened to be one of those types of situations. And I think that's really what I was working on, was like the polyrhythm, because like I say, it's like fast and slow at the same time, and the bass sound is just like kind of like, stuff like that you can work with when you're mixing too. So as the next track is coming in, you've got just that very repetitive bass coming, and as long as you got the keys matching and the mood going, you can actually create a lot of flows in and out of that type of thing, So like Vosta was saying, sometimes keeping it simple is really for that kind of one mood, rather than having kind of like multiple moods going on, I suppose, right?
Because then it muddies the mix. People need something to focus on. Just make that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I will release this as like a kind of collection of unreleased material.
Well, it sounds like it'd be great for. I'm waiting for a TV show or movie when I'm listening to that music.
It's during the hacking scene. This is the track they put when the hacking happens.
Right. The mainframe.
Mm-hmm.
They're hacking
or the close encounter. Yeah.
Or when they're getting ready to do a job like a robbery or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you kept it sparse because you have the polyrhythms going in there. That in itself adds complexity, which is fantastic. So like Vostro said, it's good that you didn't put too much in it, because it would have muddied the whole thing. But that bass there, that continues on and on. I wanted that to have more presence, because I love that sound. It's like the anchor of the song. And if you're to remix it again, maybe consider giving it more presence,
beefing it up. Right, I can see that. Sure.
Yeah, I love that sound. It's like it was the anchor of the song.
Yeah, because you want to feel that sound. Like in the ideal situation, you're not going to just be hearing it; you'll actually be feeling it, right? So you want to make sure you have that balance, right? It's true. We need Peter for that. He was supposed to be here. I just realized. I was wondering. I thought, but that's all good. He'll join us, I'm sure, at a future time. But yeah, thanks again for listening. I appreciate all your feedback, and so thank you. Okay, Claude, how are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing good.
So this track, I mainly played with the Volca bass synthesizer. I'm not super happy with the song yet. It's not finished. It's missing some unity, I think. It's a bit chaotic. And there's still some, when the rhythm changes, it's a bit abrupt at times. But yeah, it's my second tiny synthesizer. And I thought I could do a lot of bass with it, but I haven't managed to do any bass with the Korg Volca bass. I thought that was the main use for it, but I can do some nice sound with it. And yeah, I think I had fun playing with it for about 4 or 5 minutes. It's a bit long, the song, it's 5 minutes. I think I could shorten it to 4 minutes. And yeah, it's lacking probably some melody, but I'll work on it. So you
All
can
right.
go ahead.
Yep, sounds, yeah, let's give it a listen.
It's a bit long, the song.
That was quite a journey.
Well, it's got an end. It's a bit long, I find.
What, did you make any of that sound design, or it was loop sound effects that
And
you
now I
just
made
put
it
together?
all. Yeah, I just made it all together. It's a bunch of sounds and rhythm. Yeah,
I just wanted to know. That's all.
yeah, that's fine.
You're right.
At least it's not AI music.
No.
It was chaotic and
That's
anxiety.
like the next step, you know?
Anxiety inducing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of me. Sometimes I try to make a nice song and it ends up like being dark or being a bit sad. I have to try and stay away from that a little bit, but I have to work hard to stay away from that. I don't think that like the chaotic sound. I think this one is a bit too much chaotic, maybe, but I think I like that. And maybe it's a flaw, but I think it's maybe a style that I need to just get better at it. Add some rhythm into the song, put it more melodies into it. But I like that you don't really know what's coming up next.
That's for sure. You really like you have so many ideas packed into that.
Yeah, it ended up being like a drug strip.
Yeah, it's like a different.
Yeah, I start the song and I just add stuff without taking the time to really think about what the song is gonna be. So maybe I'm just immature at this point. I've been doing music for 3 years, so maybe that's not much. But for now, I like creating a lot, so more than fine-tuning and planning. So I guess I'll do more planning and better melodies in the next coming years. I hope so.
Well, there's so many
Get away with it in free jazz.
Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just saying if you've ever listened to free jazz, there's a multitude of different ideas happening. All of them.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I think it's legal. It's certainly as a specific audience. I'm always for that kind of thing, but I'm a rebel.
I wonder, Claude, when you're sitting and composing this, are you spending like multiple nights and how are you doing this? You're opening up the a certain instrument and adjusting all the parameters, or you said you're not using loops. You said
no, I'm just using like software plugins in Cakewalk as a DAW. For this particular song, I made the main track with the Volca synthesizers, and then I add instruments with different sounds, and I just add on until it makes sense to me.
Yeah, and but the stuff that goes like very specific sound design,
yeah,
that it sounds like stuff like that was made in FM8, but that you got the sound like it's already made and you're just putting it there without actually making it that yourself.
Oh,
yeah. Because the only instruments I play really is
like it's nothing wrong with sampling. People do sampling forever, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were automating your instruments and
the stuff that was going da 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 beep 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 beep. That's like stuff you added with your synth.
Yeah, this is the synth. This is the Volca bass.
Okay.
And that's a hardware synth?
Yeah. It's a $200 hardware synth. It's probably the cheapest the cheapest synth you can afford. It doesn't do much, but it's the first synthesizer I have. So now I understand more. Like I can relate to software plugins better. And I see the advantage of hardware vs software. So it's interesting, although it's only $200. Yeah.
Now I detected about like 4 different pieces, almost like distinct pieces.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you want to keep them that way, that's great. If you want to meld them a little bit together and have a bit more of a transition, then you could just have 1 or 2 instruments or tracks that kind of bridge.
That's time. Yeah.
Yeah. So this way it's a bit more seamless.
Yeah.
If that's what you're after.
Yeah. I'll take a note of that because I need to start organize myself when I do song creating is fun, but creating better stuff is even funnier. So it's even better. So
one step at a time.
Yeah, that's it. So thank you for your comments.
I think Andrew, you had a comment you wanted to make earlier.
Yeah, I was saying it sounds like something I would hear at TMOM. I don't know if anyone's been to that. It's the Toronto Electronic Music Open Mic. They have it every month in a bar on Kensington Market.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Better not be the Kensington from Philadelphia. That's an interesting place. So
No, not quite. No. Kensington Market in Toronto, just FYI for people not in Toronto, is a former Bohemian. It still is Bohemian, actually, but it's kind of near Chinatown, the old Chinatown in Toronto, and it's kind of like where you would have back in the day they had poultry, like which is unusual, but like used clothing for sale, little cool little bars and stuff. It's a nice area actually. I like Kensington Market.
Yeah, as opposed to Kensington Avenue from Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's not
which is
totally fentanyl
trank.
like,
it's a trank street.
The fent bent, like people are like bent over. Unfortunately, like, it's not even funny.
Zombie
frankly,
is
but
on the
I don't know.
sidewalk.
There's like a camera actually on Kensington, right?
Yeah, there's a live
24
camera. You
a
can
live
see
cam.
all these people, all hunchback, like Quasimodo style, going like zombies walking around. Very
Sad.
inspiring for dark dystopian tunes.
Yeah,
Anyways, carry on.
I know. But yeah, the and Paul, who's a member, plays there quite often. We were just talking about that before we started streaming that. I wanted to go check him out one of these days. But anyways, Claude, that was very, like I think Gilles said, there's a lot of ideas there. It's possibly different pieces all in one.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're after, right? That's what I would say. Like, you
I
gotta
need
really
some
think about.
discipline. In all aspects of my life, I need discipline, and I need discipline in music as well.
Well,
It's a nice place to start to have
in
discipline.
terms of it being dark, though, I don't think you should shy away from that necessarily. I think that's what gives
Yeah.
it its interesting aspect to it,
Yeah.
frankly, is how dark it is. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I personally would go
Mhm.
further with that. But
Mhm.
yeah, thank you for sharing.
Thanks to you all.
Cakewalk. That's been a while since I've heard that name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
next
alive
thing we're
because of
gonna be
me.
composing tracks in tracker music, with
Yeah.
8-bit tracker music.
Which
What
a lot
version
of
are
good
you
music
using?
was made with that.
It still is for key generators.
Yeah.
What version of Cakewalk are you on?
It's the latest version. I don't know which one it
One of
is.
my favorite.
But
Let's go.
yeah, there is this version now. They switched to Sonar, right? Which is a product that you have to register and pay every month on a monthly basis. So
Yeah.
Cakewalk is not available anymore.
Yeah, I used to use it long ago.
Okay. I'll stick to it while I can.
Yeah, sure.
So, Jeff, I do have your tune ready to go. Anything you wanted to say?
No, let's just play it away and talk afterwards. Lenny, thank
Yeah.
you.
So I do have your track. It's gonna take me probably like 10 seconds or longer, just to FYI, just to get it, but won't be too long. Okay.
Love it.
Well, this was great. This was like Spungel. Have you heard of that band?
No, I haven't. But I did have fun with that one, and I do appreciate Gilles gave it a listen and suggested that I work on a couple of my transitions. So I went back and just reworked a couple of small things in there, and I think it came out a bit better
groovy,
now.
Man.
Well, thank you, Bosco.
And nice layering too. I like the layering, and it was a complex sound. I liked it.
And nice rhythms, man.
Oh, thank you.
Very cool.
Kept the idea going, you know, down, 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 down. Really cool.
Yeah, it all works together well. Dynamic range wise, I think it's pretty good.
And it's like you picked an interesting sound for everything.
But it's yeah, like I mean, as far as I could tell composition wise, it's perfect. I don't see anything out of place.
It's like every sound was a bit something special to it. The bass was like pew, whoop, pew, you know? And then every sound
nice
had a little automation to it. That was cool.
Yeah, I attribute this group to to keep getting me to go back and work on the little things, and so now I'm trying to automate all those little things so that they don't sound so canned, and in the process it creates more layering. It's like, okay, how do I bring just a little bit more to this sound or to that sound, right? So for example, at the end in the transition, I'm sort of using a software wah-wah pedal, and I'm animating it, and I'm just like wah 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 wah, and having fun like that, just putting in little things like that to try to just where before I might have used automation in a couple parts in a song, now I might use automation, 2 or 3 different types of automation in one track on occasion, which is and it's fun. There's opening up some of the parameters or adding a pedal or a software pedal and automating it can be really neat.
How did you approach the composition of the piece? Did you start with a certain, like a bass or chords, or how did you approach it?
I with that one, it was the more of the rhythm, and within the rhythm also was that sort of sawtooth bass, and then adding the more melodic kind of keyboard or different pieces along the way. Yeah. And just building up like that. And a lot of times, Brian, you would often say to me, go back and modulate some of your keyboard sounds or your different, and I'm really trying to get back. It takes me a long time to get that into practice, though. But I'm trying to keep it in mind, and eventually I learn how to work that into it more into my music, and that's what I'm trying.
What keyboard is that?
It's just a cheap keyboard. What is it? There's nothing to it. It's just it's just a cheap, nothing special at all, Brian. It's just yeah.
You got a mod wheel on it, right?
Oh yeah, I've got a pitch bend and a couple of mod wheels on it. But then I also just use the automation on the computer, so I can just there's built-in wah-wah pedals. I could just keep dancing in circles. So I try to use different approaches to that. But you like the keyboard mod wheel, yes?
Yeah, it's cool. What DAW has a wah-wah in it?
So this is Logic, and with Logic, there are hundreds and hundreds of guitar amps, and there are probably about 30 different guitar pedals. They're all simulations, and it has 2 wah-wah pedals in it. And you could hook that up like to your mod wheel on your keyboard, or you could hook it up to any sort of lever that you might want, or you just can use it on your mouse. Yeah, that's a that's
Oh,
a
there you go. There you go.
that's the real thing.
I was just playing it today, as a matter of fact. It's kind of funny.
Oh yeah, I do like the wah wah pedal.
Yeah, yeah, no. It's for wah-wah, I was just thinking it's kind of versatile, but funk uses it a lot, right? Like when they
Yes.
do that kind of like a slow kind of pedal thing.
Stoner rock uses it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to a song
Jim Hendrix
today,
uses it.
and it was a guitar player, and they've got more or less a light backing sound with tremolo kind of wah wah pedal, and then they're playing a cleaner lead on top, and it just softens up the overall effect. It was just really well done. So I do find it provides great texture.
Yeah, and you're using your effects well, just to go back on that point there. So it's one thing having ability to have all this automation, but matching it in the appropriate mood, detail that you want for the sound. So you did a good job with complementing, I think, the mood or whatever that you're creating with the sounds. So
Well, thank you, Lenny.
kudos to you with
And
that.
I go back to Claude, and all the things you're doing there, and how much time I've spent just experimenting, and all of a sudden you have this whole set of experience as well as a library of different sounds, and I just found that over time you start to they become accessible, and I don't have to think as long now about it.
Yeah, well, thank you again. Great stuff. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And go ahead and spin the wheel.
We should have a wah wah pedal challenge.
There you go. There's actually we should go back to Richard. Well, here you go. See, this is perfect timing. I thought you wanted or were okay with the suggestion that someone made to repurpose some of the sounds and whatnot from your project for a remix or whatever for a challenge.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yes.
I think so. I mean, I remember Peter being pretty excited I thought about the possibilities of combining some of that with some, industrial techno or.
Absolutely.
Anyway, it's an idea. So if you do have files you want to share, I'm sure there'll be a lot of takers. If that's something that.
I thought we started doing that a year or so ago. No?
Yeah. Yes, we did. Well, you mean the challenges in general, Brian?
Well, yeah, I guess, but
we shared files. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a lot of files, Richard. It's probably overload, but I don't know. If there's something you can think of an angle, if you have specific ones or maybe a library, but I'm not trying to twist your arm or anything.
No.
I just feel like it would be a pretty
twist
cool.
My arm. It's okay. It's really not a problem. No,
no, because those are really nice sounds. They're very unique.
I talked it over with the creator, Rick Peterson. Nothing would make him happier than elements coming out of all of those analog synthesizer sounds from 30 years ago to start showing up in other people's music. That would be fantastic. I think, Lenny, the only thing maybe I should reach out to you separately,
sure,
just to talk about the mechanics of how that could be made to happen.
Yeah. Send me an email. Maybe
I'll do it
from there, and we could set up something for sure. Yeah.
Sure.
So, but yeah, you sent something across earlier,
yes.
right?
Yep, sure did. And there's an email coming from Ubiquitous Music, I think.
Okay.
And so I've sort of turned back to some unfinished work, and I'm sure I've played this at an earlier stage, probably in 2024. But I've just started getting back to remixing things, trying to, and Jeff, the way you described it, listening for detail, going back and automation, changing, panning, just trying to make the mix more interesting and working on equalization, making it sound better. So my hope is to package this up with 5 or 6 other pieces, many of which I've played here, and release them hopefully in the next month as an album, and then move on to something else. So that's what's going on. I just mixed this yesterday. I've listened to it once. I'm not sure what, so we can all listen to it together. In terms of what it is, so part of what I've been dwelling on is how not, we were talking about politics earlier, and there's a lot to be unhappy about all over the place. It probably always has been, but so this is kind of my anti, not getting depressed. I've been thinking about upbeat, happy, think about things like that. This is not dystopian. This is not about a dark future. I'm sort of convinced that if we are all writing music and creating movies and film and art, and we're all depicting this dark future, we're going to have a dark future, and so I'm thinking about how do you seize the narrative? What is the counter narrative? And so I'm just rambling on here, but this is a happy song. Let me just say that. Tell me what you think.
All right. So give me about probably 10 seconds to set this up.
You got it.
We'll give it a listen.
I'm thinking about how do you seize the narrative? What is the counter?
thought that was very cinematic, personally. It evoked maybe even a kind of 80s at a particular part. I felt like it was evocative, but it could be,
I mean, it was definitely not dystopian. It was instead utopian. It was creating a positive future. The constructions, you can see the people together with the AIs building some kind of perfect world. And this was the music to it. With Richard being like the main engineer, like one of the main guys.
I'm pulling levers and making right.
Well, it is very positive music. It's uplifting. Yes.
Well, perfection, we can only hope, right? I don't know that that's necessarily the goal, but less dystopian, less dysfunctional. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I compose dystopian music to inspire the people to not go there. Like that's the message. It's not promoting a dystopian world, but then they can go and do positive things and join your construction team, Richard.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's an interesting point. It kind of reminds me, I don't know why, but of The Man in High Castle. Like both the TV series and the book. I don't know if you know where it's like the reverse history. So like the other people won World War II in this story, if you're not familiar with it. And then in the story, there's like this underground, and they've got films of like the U.S. and England winning or whatever, and which is like the actual true history was like reversed. But like those films create a kind of inspiration or whatever. Like that's the actual future that, you know what I mean? So that's what I got from what you were saying. Like if you're sort of moving in that direction,
I don't,
maybe it inspires people.
well, we can only hope. Um, I'm just commenting on, in terms of popular literature, certainly film, a lot of television shows, at least the ones that I see here in the States, are just dwell on this sort of dark future. And it may be, I guess, uncool, and I'm okay with being uncool. I'm uncool, but just to sort of counter that narrative, I think where I'm struggling, and I appreciate the humor actually and all of that, but is so what is the counter story? So it's not going to be awful, or people won't be herded off and eaten as Soylent Green as people, or or I don't know what. Uh, where are we heading? I don't know.
Well, one thing I was gonna say something earlier, so it's a good
Richard verse.
segue. One thing I find in Canada, and maybe this is true of the States, is the anti-intellectualism. Like there's a real low IQ like level of information, and it's hard to actually find anything intellectually stimulating in the mainstream, especially. Not totally missing, like there's some Netflix stuff here and there that I find kind of interesting, but like in the Canadian media, it's like the lowest common denominator. You know what I mean? And I
We're getting
feel that,
stupider, is what you're saying.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe it's
basically,
the plastic in our brains, man.
could be, could be.
The forever chemicals,
And
which
also, I
is
was gonna say, which is related, I was gonna say, is the lack of morality. That's another thing that you'll see, or a different morality. You know what I mean? So whereas, like you're saying, I don't know, like if this has been around for a long time at this point, like probably more than 100 years, but there's kind of like this creeping in of like individualism, for example, is a better way to describe it. So just kind of like scamming, you know what I mean? Like if you can, scam money from someone and get away with it, it's kind of like there's many, many more and more people that just are okay with that. And it's kind of like, hey, you know what? Buyer beware. Um, and I think it's top down. Like I think people learn, right? Like Wall Street operates this way. So why shouldn't the rest of the population follow suit? You know what I mean? Sorry to go too far on a tangent there, Richard, but just since
no.
we're on the topic, like I just thought, like we really do lack basic morality, I would say, in our society. It's kind of like whatchamacallit, Yeah, it's just like individualism, and there's like a lack of community, I would say, in many cases, or solidarity.
Well,
Aphex Twin
since
released
we're
a record called Collapse a few years ago. It's kind of interesting take on that.
Say again, sorry.
Aphex Twin released a record called Collapse,
All
which
right,
was
right.
alleged to be kind of along the lines of the end of civil society. And I'm afraid he's right.
well, since I'm going to look to Richard, the positive note. I got a chance to hear a horticultural flower design presentation by a fellow who's been educating himself in everything through the roof. And the thing that I thought was so amazing about it was that there was this really positive vision about what people are doing with the space. And it was all based upon their values and how they cherished the relationships that they had and how they wanted to share that with others so that other people could turn their spaces into beautiful places where plants and the environment and other people could grow. And I thought, what a simple, beautiful model. In many ways, this group does that kind of thing, and we don't necessarily talk about our to some degree the vision, the values, and so on. But it was just so simple. I thought so many different groups could take that model. I thought, wow, you could take that and use it even in food, because we're having problems feeding ourselves these days. And they talked about AI as well and how to move that in. But the big thing was about positive, nurturing relationships with others and with the planet, with peace. And so, how's that? I'll come back with something positive. And
there's not enough positive relationships. That's so true.
Even the
Beautiful.
architecture, look at the architecture we have. So many times it's based on economics rather than aesthetics and other, soul crushing kind of this design. You know what I mean? Not to say there aren't exceptions, but really it's
Sure.
quite amazing how much bad architecture there is, to be honest.
And the new apartments are pretty bad structural resistant wise, according to an engineer friend of mine who told me how apartments used to be built very strong and with really wide and good isolation and everything. And now it's all cheaped out, but they are expensive it's expensive to buy such an apartment, but an old school one is better structurally wise.
Built to last. Yeah. I was just at the pier earlier and they have those big silos, right? And almost every port you'll see them, especially around here, like, like the Red Rose, I think is in Montreal, Red Path or whatever, and the one here in Collingwood. I mean, those things aren't gonna go away easily, even if you tried to demolish them. Like they're built, and those were built like, you know what I mean, a century ago, right? So it's amazing how we have so much better technology available too. And like I say, I think it's a lot of it is economics. A lot of it is you know, squeezing as much out of it as possible, right? So you got this much small space. What's the maximum we can do to,
efficiency? I mean? It's efficiency.
Yeah, but I agree. Like there's the human cost for that efficiency sometimes. But anyway, Robert, or sorry, Richard.
That's good.
You sparked some good conversation here. Very clean piece. Like your music is always something I've remarked upon several times, but all the instruments come out nice and clean. The balance. I mean, it's a very nice sound.
Richard, your drums are so clean. I could eat off of that kit, man.
So Brian in the mix, when you get down and you're only listening to 3 tracks, and there's 20 others that are muted. There's some passages in there. I'm gonna after this is all finished, I'm gonna take those out and I'm gonna send them to you.
Okay.
And we'll see what comes out of that.
Oh, so you want some guitar in there?
Whatever.
Okay. Sure.
And you know, going through that just yesterday, Jeff, when you were describing what you were doing with automation and all that, it was like I was saying it myself. You know, it's like, oh, I could make it pan from left to right. Oh, I could make it pan from right to left, and I can, you know, change the cutoff frequency here so it sounds a little brighter, or you know, whatever. So that was fun. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And to think that was just like a last minute consideration, Richard. So, you know, glad I put your name in the list. Right, Andrew.
Yeah. Hey
How are
guys.
things?
Good. Not too bad. Having a little bit of a warm spell here in the city, which is nice. A couple of days of sun. I like it.
Yeah.
So this track is something that is not that recent. It's about a couple of years old, but I hadn't released it over the interwebs. So I found it again, and much like I guess Lenny was saying about his track that he did this tonight, very similar thought process there. So it's called Seclusion, and it's a little on the darker side, a little bit trancey. If you want to take it away,
All right,
Lenny?
yeah. Let's
All
give it
right.
a listen.
Thank you. Yeah, so just something I found in the crates of the computer. I thought it was okay, so I decided to play it for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it.
Lovely. I thought it was fantastic, and I didn't find it dark at all. I found it pretty uplifting. And as you said, also found it very hypnotic and trancy, like you said. And I love the way you had these pads just swaying throughout, just to go. I thought it was just complementing the whole, driving beat. That was my favorite part of the track, which is a big part of the track. Well done. I really liked it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a glorious track. Congratulations. It's nice and chill, but it's well crafted with good layering, as people were mentioning. I liked the positive vibe, but also a little bit of darkness expressed through that one instrument that was pitch bending a little bit. It was kind of
right, like a bit of dissonance.
It's like that's the ominous part of it. Really cool mix. Nice job. I liked it just now on your SoundCloud, and I made a comment too.
Awesome, thank you.
Your songs often remind me of the 80s, and so we had a bit of British invasion and all of that stuff I was hearing in the clubs back then. So I found it again upbeat and it was very enjoyable for me.
True. It does have an 80s style to it.
The leads that he makes, it's that one. Like the beat is late 90s, 2000s, or even now. And then the other layering stuff can be considered modern as well. But when it comes to the leads, he does like things that were in the 80s, like in the song specifically. This one was that dun 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 dun. That's a very 80s thing to make. Do you guys agree?
Well, I was gonna make the same comment you were gonna make earlier with that little bit of dark touch there with the morphing sound that you were talking about there, Vostel. That was a nice element, Andrew, that made this track. I think maybe that's what you were alluding to in terms of maybe a darker kind of feel, but it was a nice balance. You know what I mean? It was a good.
Okay.
Like I thought it was still uplifting, but it had a bit of dissonance and yeah, like it's a great track.
All right,
one
cool.
you got in there is very it reminded me of something that I hear our guitar players play all the time. That I don't know if you can hear that.
No, actually.
No.
Considered melody is, I guess, filtered out through these communication softwares nowadays.
Remind me very much of like a Duran Duran almost kind of a riff.
Oh wow, okay.
Except they have more explosive drums.
True. But that's it doesn't get more 80s than Duran Duran. I mean.
Well, thanks guys for listening. And, appreciate all the positive feedback. Thanks.
I like the chill drums. The chill drums were really nice. Keep it going. It's like driving away.
Yeah, it's just kind of like
a song.
Yeah, like a train, kind of, exactly. Yeah, choo-choo train, maybe.
Thomas the Tank Engine on a video. I'm gonna make a video for it with Thomas the Tank Engine. How about that?
Now you got me thinking of what's that Grateful Dead song about the train or whatever? Train. I don't know. Anyway. So I think it was like Cocaine and Train, something like that.
Oh, driving my train high on cocaine?
Right.
Something else?
Isn't that Grateful? I'm not really. It's not my area.
Yeah, it's not my country. But I do remember that lyric.
But yeah, no. Thank you for sharing once again, Andrew. Great stuff. And I guess we got, last but not least, Vostel. So yeah, tell us about this track. You're saying you have a vocalist lined up, I think.
No,
right?
this is an instrumental. If I have some vocals on it, but your guys are gonna listen to the instrumental. If you want to imagine a voice, imagine something like Depeche Mode. I found some guy on my IRC network on Rect who was a programmer, and I didn't know he could sing, and just out of the blue, he sends me a private message. Here's some stuff I've been working. My old projects, they're all raw and unmixed and stuff, but I could see the talent, so I'm gonna grab his voice and put it on the track. Maybe show it next time again with the voices on. But this is gonna be the instrumental version, and I hope it's not gonna be too boring for you guys. It still has some interesting sections and could still walk on its own just as an instrumental. It's minimal. I limit myself. Limitations are good. What else? The kick and the snare is gonna be very short, like short dynamic on them, short transients to make room for atmospheric stuff. Because if you have a kick drum that goes like, it's gonna destroy the mix for what I wanted to do. So yeah, the snare is gonna be like or like a little another short clap type thing that goes well with the kick. Well, it's like I'm giving feedback to my own track, but just play the track, I guess. Play the track.
No, it's good to know the thought process.
The title will be changed. Right now, it's just called Rise of Atso, because the guy's name on the IRC is called Atso, so it's like I wanted to remember that that's a track I want to put him on the voice, but it will be remain to something else if we release it. It's not really a retro track. It's more of it's got a modern punch to it, and the leads might be a little bit retro, just like in the case of our friend Andrew. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Yeah, let's give it a listen.
Let's go. Techno babushka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the instrumental. Someone just reminded me. I'm like, man, imagine with vocals. But yeah, that's already a banger, man.
Yeah. I've got balls of steel.
That's a Rec Network popular
It's
drop.
time to kick ass and chew bubblegum.
That was a great song. Did you try to play with the tempo a little bit? I wonder if the tempo would be a little faster sometimes, would give the song some more dynamic, maybe. Did you try that?
No.
Okay.
I'm a slower guy. I like a slower punch. I like
Yeah.
a thump that's like slower. That's just me. Like I'm a super tall guy, you know, so I move slower than other people. So it's just
Okay.
the way I vibe, you know.
It's physics, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But then imagine it's gonna have like this voice that it sounds kind of like the Depeche Mode guy, with like kind of like dreamy but manly at the same time. Like it's good, but it's also like it's danceable, but it's also you can think about things more deeply, you know.
So you have the song in the right key for him already?
Yes, this is
Okay.
perfect for him, and it's at that place where the voice can have like it's just full. It has a little bit of bass, a little bit of mids, you know, a bit of highs. Like it's perfect for him. It's gonna be great. I hope so. Like I only mixed half of it, but there was no point to show that if it's only mixed halfway, you know. We still have to record, and then if some words are said in a cringy way, you know, when try to record vocals and don't get it right, you have to record that sentence again, that first.
Did you build the sound around his voice, or is he singing to your track?
I listened to him on his projects,
Yeah.
and I found it, and then I composed the track. So I found where his voice was, and then I composed it after that.
Okay.
Well, it's got a great groove. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
Vosto, was
And
that
Quan was
like
having a lot of fun to that. I saw that.
was that
He
is
was
that about
grooving to it. Yes,
is that about 100 beats a minute?
man, you're pro. So it's 106.
106?
Yep, 106. You're
was-
almost
No,
there. Spot on. You can just count things in your head. That's great. One
well
time.
now I know what the Vosto tempo is, so that's good. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah. Vostok
Now we're
tempo.
gonna get into mathematics. Is that it?
No,
Well,
we can talk about math. Yes, very good.
I like to be somewhere there, you know, 106, 111.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the other side of things is when I go 140 BPM and like, but like the beat is half time instead of, you know,
Yeah, like dubstep is typically in the
dubstep
140,
basically
right?
does that. Yes. So no matter
I
what I do, I
generally
end up
do 120.
doing a bit slower stuff. Yeah, that's me, and I'm better at it too. Like when I try to make faster stuff, I'm not as good at. I'm good at making the sounds between the spaces of the drums, and if there's not much space in between the drums, then my music can't really shine in that way. So I need space to put stuff that gives you a cool illusion in your brain when you hear the sound in your ears.
Yeah, tempo is it's amazing what the same. I said this before, but you get a bass line, for example, and you play it at two different speeds, and it's amazing what the difference. It's the same notes, it's the same, you know what I mean, arrangement, but the vibe is totally different, right? So each tempo kind of has its different I don't know, characteristics that some cases, for example, sometimes 100 BPM a minute can be extremely fast because you have double time drums on that, right? So you have that crazy like whatchamacallit, gabber or whatever, like. But yeah, that's an incredibly, like I said in the comments there, I really like the intro. It grabs your attention right from the beginning. You go straight into it. It's a nice groove. And then you have your sort of second drop, which is a variation, which is nice. In a lot of your music, you do proper variation. You don't just repeat the same thing. Like you get a twist on the original, feel. So
that's the philosophy. Trying to make something that people can relate to, which is the way people arrange music. But I like to put my stuff like after a cool groove, go somewhere where people don't expect, because usually people go in places you expect. So the first, like after the first part, it's I start to be more like a slower melodic thing that then leads into a drop with distortion. That's my thing. So in the first part of the song, not so much distortion, but then melodic kind of slow down without the beat to give like a little story, and then move into the distortion area, and then stop it with that and bring back the cool melody, the groove, but this time with a little bit of extra stuff to have more energy for the ending, more energy, got to bump it,
Arnold,
come on. Sorry.
No, but you're good at that, and you did it well with this track. Was this the track you made online, by the way?
But some people might want more energy, like the person who wanted me to go a bit faster, but I'm sorry, I can't fulfill that. So, but Jake Kwan was grooving to it, so I'm happy with that.
But you composed.
I get your groove. I like your groove, boss.
You composed the track online recently, right, Vostel? It's another thing.
Online?
Yeah, didn't you do like how to make a track in the wasteland or something like that?
Oh yeah, I did on my own YouTube channel, on my Vosto channel. I posted. I was live, man.
I caught he composed the track live. So if you want to see the creative process, 3 hours, behind the mind of Vosto, I recommend
so that's the YouTube channel.
Could you give us a link for that? That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, it's in the chat.
I posted in the.
Oh, there it is, eh? Okay.
I posted there. I plan to do at least a weekly live stream of song exploring, because I noticed that
sorry, go ahead.
It takes me like, okay, maybe you won't get the finalized track because that takes more time, but in the live stream I want to get to a functional track. That's the goal. So in 3 hours I want to get to a functional track. That's the goal, so that people don't get bored. And then we play it from the beginning to the end, and that's it. And then it remains for me to actually finish the track. And the reactions were pretty good. I was happy with it, so I'm going to do it again.
I would say you're very generous in sharing this, peek behind the scenes, behind the curtains, the creative process behind the mind, the genius of Vosto.
Jesus Christ.
No, but seriously, man, you're a nice guy to do that. It's like a lot of people hide their process, I find. You know what I mean? And it's nice when people share it. That's all.
But it's not like I have like super secrets that revolutionize the music. In fact, all those super new sounds that are screechy and stuff, I don't like them that much. And all these Serum new packs, it's all like super noisy sounds, and even the leads are screechy and destroy your ears. So
Yeah,
I like
really?
to create more simple sounds from scratch, and then use an effect chain that make it more interesting, but not over the top, because that goes into ear rape territory, which I don't like personally. But I would say sound design wise, Andrew Timar is really good, and that techno guy, and
Peter. Yes.
Jay
Peter,
Kwan is starting to be really good too. I mean, in another year, he's gonna put me under the floor, and that's just the way it's gonna be.
it's gonna be synthwave Jay Kwan, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, those little automations he did and stuff, like that's the kind of stuff I do as well. So it's not
You're
we're
very
all
kind.
I think we all have a cool sound in different departments.
Well, and
Brian H.
Peter,
brought that
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin stuff. Richard brought some happy utopian composition. That was really cool. Claude brought some crazy experimental stuff that sometimes it can be inspiring. Spy Audio with the drum and bass, Gilles with the heavy lectures.
yeah, no, this group has natural. What I've been thinking, because sometimes we have these because we don't curate the music. Obviously, it's whatever you guys bring to the table. But it's amazing how many times it works so well, and I just think it's the talent of the people that you know what I mean, that join this group is what's been able to keep it going for so long.
I was curious to
you know,
hear the young person who joined in the beginning and then had to go.
Yeah.
Chris, I never saw him before.
But yeah, we're missing Phil, we're missing Peter. Those are two
Yeah, the
big,
techno guys, the techno guys.
heavy hitters that come to the table month after month. I mean, Phil is, was my favorite, to be honest. I told him this, like of all the people in our group, and we have so many talented people, but I've always been impressed, frankly.
Speaking about punchiness, he's the guy.
Yeah, and Peter, in terms of the dark techno industrial stuff, like I said last time, I'm going to keep repeating this. He did not make music until he joined our meetup group. So that's an amazing fact, actually, to ponder.
And now he's making
great music,
stuff.
like top notch. You know what I mean?
I heard it, man. Like some crazy atmospheres. I love it. I want a compilation.
Yeah, he's making those great videos too, which I think is amazing. How well he can match the vibe of the music to the video. Like, just it's quite amazing. I don't know how he deleted, but anyway, we're talking about him without him being here, so it's a bit weird. So we'll have to wait for him to return next month, and we can bring up the conversation again. But yeah, we might call it early tonight, I think. I mean, but we've had such great music again that I really appreciate all your attendance and contribution. I don't know what else to add.
Thank you for hosting this, Lenny. It's really fortunate to have you help out and support this and support us all.
Yeah, you know what? It's a group effort, but I'm happy to pitch in. You know what I mean? And yeah. And by the way, again, tomorrow there's gonna be that live event. Like I say, it's at Barrie, so it's north of Toronto, but I will try to stream it. And we'll have another meetup in May, obviously. But like I say, keep June 14th open on your calendar if you're in the Toronto area. We're gonna be back at the Smith House. We're gonna have My Girl Tuesday. She is confirmed, so she's a really popular, enthusiastic drum and bass and other genres, but she's gonna be doing drum and bass. We have, like I said earlier, Dextra doing the vinyl, so we might do basically all vinyl or mostly vinyl at that event. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thank you all again for, like I say, for basically making great music and all the great conversation. And we'll see each other again soon, hopefully.
Okay. Thanks again, Lenny.
Okay.
Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
Lenny.
All right.
Yeah.
Take care.
Have a good night,
good night.
everybody.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye for now.